What's up guys, and welcome back to Software and Audio Solutions. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about Call of Duty Warzone. There's going to be a new map that's going to be released on the 8th of December. If you would like to see an FPS boost guide on the latest map that's going to be released on the 8th, if you'd like to see a video on the 8th of December, or let's say the 9th, however the case might be, because I'm going to have to jump into the game, see the map, see what the problems are in the game, and then go through settings to tweak it out to get better performance or better FPS in your game. Now, if you would like to see that video and you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video, and maybe leave a comment down below if you would like to see the new maps FPS boost guide that I'm going to be doing on the 8th or the 9th of December. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to show you an FPS boost guide, and the reason why I'm making this video today is I'm just uploading a video for the people out there that's still having problems with this game. Maybe I didn't go through a setting that I skipped or that I missed or something like that. Today I'm going to go through a ultimate FPS boost guide for you guys, and stay tuned, watch the full video, and you should be good to go with whatever system you are running. You could be any user. This is for all users out there. You could be a desktop user, a laptop user. You can be a low tier, mid tier to high tier gaming PC user. This is for all users out there. All you need to do is follow my guidelines, and you should be good to go to play this game perfectly fine. Now, I'm going to go very in depth with the settings on your Windows, and I'm going to go very in depth with the settings inside Call of Duty Warzone to play the game absolutely fine, and to basically show you what settings I use to do the FPS in my game. Now, a lot of people has commented on my YouTube videos to ask me what FPS am I doing inside my game, and where do I lose frames and stuff like that. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you do lose frames. I'm not doing 1,000 frames or 250 constantly or 120 constantly. There's places in the game that you lose frames. Unfortunately, that is just the case. That is Call of Duty Warzone for you. But you can do a couple of tips and tricks inside Windows, inside your graphics card settings, and inside Warzone itself to get better FPS. Alright, let's jump straight into it and show you guys what you need to do. Now, I'm going to go very in depth with this tutorial today to show you guys what you all need to do to get this game up and running perfectly fine. Alright, so the main thing to do is to go to your settings over here and go to update and security. This is the very first thing you need to do, and the very main cause of FPS issues, lag issues, game crashing issues is if your Windows is not up to date. So ladies and gentlemen, I highly recommend that you update your Windows every time you sit in front of your computer and you're about to play a game. It doesn't matter if it's Warzone, if it's any other game. I highly recommend that you update your Windows drivers on a regular basis. Now, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're on 21H2. It's the latest version of Windows 10. A lot of people are running Windows 11. I do not want to go over to Windows 11 right now because it has a lot of problems. It has a lot of bugs, and some games don't even work on Windows 11. So I'm going to wait till the Windows is actually completely updated and the way it should be running. Then I'll move over to Windows 11. Don't judge me. I just like Windows 10 the way it is right now. It runs my games perfectly fine without any problems. Right, so the next step that you're going to need to do is go to apps over here. Now, this plays a very big part in your hard drive or inside your machine, is what is all installed on your PC. Now, for people out there that has a lot of space on their PCs, then it's okay. Then you don't need to uninstall stuff on your PC. For instance, there's a lot of things that people install on their PC that they don't even use. They maybe install a lot of single-player games and stuff like that, but they don't even really play it. I'm one of those people. I have a lot of single-player games on my PC. I don't even play. They're just on my computer, and I don't play it. I mean, I've got League of Legends on my system. I don't play this game. It's just on my system. I have a lot of other games that it's just chilling for no reason. I mean, Halo Infinite is quite a good game, but I don't play it. I play a lot of other games. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, so I highly recommend that you uninstall stuff that you don't play. For instance, Anthem. I don't play this game. I don't even know why it is installed on my machine. I don't play this game, so I'm just going to uninstall this. I'm just going to remove this. So here is basically a recommended thing to uninstall that took 80 gigs of my machine. That is just chilling there. It took 80 gigs of my hard drive space or my SSD space that I don't use. I don't play the game. It's just there. Right, let me just change this back to my headset because otherwise you guys aren't going to hear the audio because it's playing through my TV. Right, next step you're going to need to do is go to offline maps over here where it says offline maps. What you're going to need to do inside here is when it opens this up, you're going to say delete all maps. You're going to say delete all. This will delete all the offline maps and stuff like that that you don't need. And it's just a thing that you don't need at all. You really don't need this to run in the background or just to run in general. Video playback. I highly recommend that you turn this off and you untick this box. If yours is turned on and ticked over here, I highly recommend changing both of these things. Where it says startup, this is your startup things. So whatever starts up with your Windows every time you start up your laptop or your desktop computer, these are the things that's going to start every time you boot up your machine. Now, these things are very important. That's on and that's off. I mean, Cortana, I don't need. Origin, I don't need. Steam, I don't need. Vanguard, I don't need. I don't need these things. I don't play games on Vanguard right now, or Vanguard's anti-cheat, whatever the case might be. I don't play games on this anymore right now, not in the moment, so I switch it off, okay? Steam can be turned off if you're a Steam user. If you're an Origin user, keep it off. Because the reason why I say you keep it off is because it runs in the background and uses resources every time you start up your laptop or your desktop computer. For instance, if I open up Origin, this is how I open up my Origin. I go and click on it, or just type, you could just type in your Origin like this, and you just click on the application and it will start opening. So for instance, I'm just going to open up my Origin, and there we go. Then my Origin opens up and I'm good to go. It's not going to boot in the background, you know, every time I boot up my machine and then Origin is running in the background and stuff like that. I mean, I don't need that, so I'm not going to touch that or anything like that. But ladies and gentlemen, background apps plays a very big role inside your machine. Trust me, it does, especially for Warzone, since Warzone is so broken and not optimized, and it's the game is just completely straight up fucked. Okay, there we go. I got it out. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, so here we go. Gaming, go to gaming, where it says this. You don't need this unless you want to use this. It's your own personal preference. If you want to use this, you can go and use this. Where it says game mode, I highly recommend turning this off, because with my own personal setups that I've been running with my machines, laptops, all those things, I had this off because I had seen no difference if I turn this on. If I turn this on, it does absolutely nothing. If I turn this off, it does absolutely nothing. It does not increase my FPS. It does not decrease my FPS. It does not make my games run better or anything like that. So I just turn it off and I leave it off. If you're one of those people and you have this on and you're like, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to rather keep it on because it helps me with FPS. If it does that, if it helps you with FPS, then keep it on, ladies and gentlemen. Then it's your own personal preference. Like I said, I keep mine off because my machine does not need this. Absolutely does not need this at all. All right, once you're done with that, I highly recommend you go and do this. Go to start. Go to my computer and see the hard drives that you are currently running, or the SSDs or the M.2s that you're currently running. Make sure that they're all in the blue. Do not have your hard drives, SSDs or M.2s running in the red. If you have your machines running in the red, your gameplay experience is going to be really bad. Your Windows is going to slow down, and it's not going to be a smooth gameplay experience. Not just with games, your Windows is going to be slowing down itself, then it's going to be slowing down your games. Because your Windows is slow, your games are going to stutter, lag, stuff's going to happen to your game that you don't want to happen, so I highly recommend keeping your stuff in the blue. Then I also highly recommend going to your C drive. If you only have one drive or you have lots of drives, doesn't matter if it's SSDs, M.2s or normal mechanical hard drives. I highly recommend going to your hard drive, click on properties and click on disk cleanup. All right, click on all these boxes inside here and then say okay and say delete files. This will clean your cache, all those things. It will just clean your temporary files, Internet Explorer, all those things, thumbnails, whatever the case might be. Just delete them, get them off of your C drive. Now, depending on where your Windows is installed, obviously most likely it will be on your C drive, which is your main Windows drive. But a lot of people have their Windows on OneDrive and then everything else on OneDrive as well. So, for instance, they maybe just have one terabyte hard drive or one 4 terabyte hard drive or whatever the case might be. They don't have separate drives. They only have the one SSD or the one hard drive or the one M.2, and they're constantly using that specific drive. Okay, now I have my Warzone installed on this SSD over here. As you can see, Warzone's over there. All you need to do is this. Right-click on that hard drive, go to Properties, and then go to Disk Cleanup. Then you go to Clean Up System Files, and you're going to click on both of these things. You're going to say okay, you're going to say delete files, and it's going to clean it out for you. And this is basically all you need to do with your drive. Do not, I repeat, do not do a disk fragment on an SSD or an M.2. Do not do a disk fragment. It is going to mess up your stuff. These ready boosts as well. This is if you have a extra flash drive in your machine that's plugged in, or you have a flash drive laying around that's quite huge, like a 16 gig, 32 gig, 64 gig, 128 gig. The bigger the flash drive, the better. What you can do is you plug in a flash drive and you make it a ready boost drive. What it will do is it will actually use that USB. Basically, a USB is similar to a SSD because it doesn't have any moving parts inside of it. It's just basically like a SSD. It has no moving parts. It can go and access the memory inside that USB and make your PC not faster, but a little bit more responsive. So you can do that. It's your own personal preference. If your machine's running fine, your Windows is running fine, you don't need to do that at all. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So like I said before, keep your hard drives in the blue, your SSDs in the blue, or your M.2s in the blue. Doesn't matter what you are running, just make sure that you do this. All right, I'm going to go out of this. So the next step you're going to need to do is press the Windows key and R to bring up the Run tab. Obviously, there's another way of doing this. Go to the search bar and type in Run yourself. And then what you're going to need to do is press Shift 5 for the percentage symbol and type in temp, Shift 5 for the percentage symbol, and press Enter. What these are temporary files that your Windows is keeping that you do not need. They're temporary files. If you've ever cleaned your phone to free up space, not just space, to clean up your cache, memory, all those things with your phone, it says cleaning temporary files. You need to do the same thing with your machine, your desktop computer, or your laptop to make it run better. If you realize if you do it with your phone, it makes your phone run better, especially on Android phones, right? You just click on anything inside here, Control A, highlight everything, right click on it, say delete, and then say continue, just like this. And it's going to delete everything inside the temporary files. You're going to close out of this, go to your recycling bin, say empty recycling bin, and say yes. Say continue. Ladies and gentlemen, no, this does not give you more FPS inside your game. This just makes Windows run better, smoother, and much more responsive. That's what it does. That's all it does. And these are temporary files also to save up space. That's what it does. All right. The next one is you go here again, you type in run, and then you're going to go to prefetch. The reason why I do this is prefetched files are prefetched, just like it says, just like the name. It is prefetched files that you do not need anymore. That is basically like temporary files. So all you need to do is just click on anything inside here, just like previously, press Control A, highlight everything, right click on it, say delete, and then you're going to do this. Do this for all current items and say skip, because Windows is currently using this one file right here. You might have a few files over here that is running. Don't worry about it. It is Windows using stuff, resources. For instance, if you have like Battle.net open or Origin or Steam or other stuff like that, there will be a few things here because Windows is running those applications. Now, I do not have a lot of things open right now, so I only have one over here. What you're going to need to do next is you're going to go to your recycling bin, empty recycling bin, and say yes. Once you're done with that, ladies and gentlemen, the next step that you're going to need to do is update your graphics card drivers. If you do this on a regular basis, you should be fine with every single game that you play, especially with Warzone. Warzone wants you to keep your graphics card drivers up to date. Now, if I remember correctly, yesterday I did a massive, I think it was 890 megabyte update. It's getting to like 1 gig now, nowadays with the NVIDIA drivers. I'm not an AMD user, so I wouldn't know. I don't know how big they are. You can maybe leave a comment down below of how big they are, but my driver that I installed yesterday, it was the latest update for my graphics card, which I did yesterday, and it was almost a gig big. So they are getting quite huge just to install graphics card drivers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am a NVIDIA user and I have GeForce Experience installed. If you do not have GeForce Experience installed, I highly recommend you go and install it and have it on your machine, because it will let you know when the latest driver is available for your graphics card, your specific graphics card that you are currently running. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the only reason why I have this GeForce Experience is not to play my games through it. is to actually go to drivers and then go to check for update. Now this is the latest one that I have. I have the latest version installed and I'm good to go. Now if you do not have GeForce Experience installed on your machine, I highly recommend you go and do it. All you need to do is go to any web browser and then type in the graphics card that you have, and it will give me the drivers that I need to download. So I'm going to click on this and it will automatically pick up what drivers you are looking for. So I'm looking for the RTX 20 series, which is my graphics card of the year, and you go to search and it's 830 megs. There we go. So for the latest version, you're going to click on download, you're going to install it, and you're going to install the game ready drivers. Then what you're going to need to do is tick the box where it says, would you like to install GeForce Experience? Install it if you want GeForce Experience to run in the background. It is a big benefit for people out there that's running NVIDIA graphics cards, because what NVIDIA GeForce Experience does is over here, this over here will make a little yellow dot or a little yellow circle over here to let you know that there's a latest driver for your graphics card. Yesterday I actually went here to connect my Bluetooth controllers that I'm using to play A Way Out and It Takes Two with my girlfriend. So you go here and you'll see that there is a little yellow circle over here, and you click on it and it will start updating your drivers. What it will do is when you click on this, it will actually open this up for you. So it will open this up and it will go directly to drivers over here, or it will be on home and it will say start downloading, and then you install it and there you go, and you should be good to go. I do not play my games through this application. If you're one of those people that plays this game through this application and you don't lose FPS, then you can go ahead and do so. Unfortunately, I do not. I repeat, I do not play my games through this. I rather go into Origin to play like Apex Legends or Battlefield, whatever the case might be, or I go to Steam itself and go into Steam to play Steam games. All right, I don't know why I clicked that. To play Steam games. So, for instance, I'll open up my Steam and I go to my home and I'll go play a game. All right, I do not play it through GeForce Experience. I highly recommend you don't do it. If you're one of the lucky people that play your games through this and it optimizes your gameplay performance and it makes your game run much smoother, then it's okay to run your game through this application. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so the next step that you're going to need to do is this. So you're going to go to the start button over here and you're going to go to settings, just like this. And what you're going to need to do next is you're going to go to personalize. Over here, what you're going to need to do is you go to colors. A lot of people have their brand new machines, or let's just say you don't know much about computers. You have your computer like this or your laptop like this, where it's in light mode. This, what it does is it uses a lot of resources on your computer, especially laptop users. It uses a lot of resources, for instance, your RAM, your graphics, and your CPU to keep it in light mode. So what I recommend you do is go to dark mode, keep it in dark mode, put the transparency effect off, and select a dark color. I have this color selected, and I'm good to go with this colors. Right? It uses resources, ladies and gentlemen. It literally uses resources, and you do not want that at all to be using resources of your PC. All right, so the next step you're going to need to do is go here and type in device manager, just like this, and you're going to open up device manager. All right, you can also update your graphics card drivers through this over here. Say update, say search automatically, and it will let you know that you have the latest drivers installed. All right, you can also go to your desktop, which is your main computer with all your components, and scan for hardware and changes. It will let you know if there's any new updates or any things like bugs, issues, stuff that's not installed, or anything like that. That's what the device manager is for, and it will also let you know what is plugged into your machine and all those nice things. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, once you're done with that, what you're going to need to do is go to the search button over here, and you're going to type in edit power plan, just like this, and you're going to go to edit power plan. You're going to go to power options, and what you're going to need to do is this. Now, a lot of people have questioned me this in my comments, saying, yo, man, I don't have, power saver, I don't have ultimate performance, I don't have high performance, I don't have these things. What can I do to get it over there? What you can do is you can just go create a power plan, type in here, for instance, Warzone, if you want, or you can do this, best settings. Let's make it best settings. So best settings for your Windows. You click on high performance, you go on next, right? You go create. Now we have a best settings for high performance created. You go to change plan settings, you go to change advanced power settings, and you're going to do this. All right, so I'm going to go from the start straight to the end. the very first one where it says turn off hard disk after, yours might say 10 minutes like this or 20 minutes like this, depending if you have a mechanical hard drive, SSD, or an M.2. Now, this doesn't actually really matter if you have a mechanical hard drive, SSD, or an M.2. I put mine on 0 and then click anywhere and it will say never. So it will say turn off hard disk after never. So it will never turn off my hard disk, right? Your hard drive. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do this if you have a normal mechanical hard drive. It will help you a lot. This helps me even though I'm using an SSD. So do it if you have a normal mechanical hard drive, or you just have one drive in your laptop or one drive on your desktop PC. Right, the next step that you're going to need to do is go to processor power management, minimum processor state. Now, if you are a laptop user, it's going to say on battery or plugged in. Change them both to 100%. All you need to do is type inside this box 100 and just click anywhere and it will do 100%. Maximum performance, it will automatically be on 100%. On desktop computers, it will automatically be on 100%. Laptop users, it might be different. For some laptops, they're on like 60%, they're around. Just change them both to 100% and say apply, say okay, and then you can close out of this because you have the latest power plan. Right, ladies and gentlemen, so this is another tip and trick that I want to show you guys for the people out there that uses Msi Afterburner. Now, if you do not use Msi Afterburner and you never heard of it or you don't have it installed, I highly recommend you go to any search engine and type in Msi Afterburner and go and download it. Now, yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is a latest version of Msi Afterburner. I just use this one. I prefer this one. It's my own personal preference. It's basically the exact same as just an updated version, the latest one that's out right now. So I have two saved files here. All right, so profiles. This is what I have. I have two saved profiles. So my first profile is my overclocking, which is 100 on the memory clock and 100 on the core clock. The temp limit is at 87. And then the power limit is at 117. It's the highest it can go to on NVIDIA graphics cards. All right, so the fan curve I have at 90% fan curve speed, and then I tick on this, and this is when I go and play my games. Now there goes my fans. It's going all hectic and stuff, but this helps cool down my graphics card, and then I don't thermal throttle my gameplay experience, because if you thermal throttle your PC, you're going to lose FPS. So this can help you with FPS. This is a very big role to play in FPS. Okay, so I'm actually just going to show you guys what I do here. So my second profile here is when I don't game. So you can create profiles. Okay, so let's just say I want to go back to the stock settings. Let's just say this is the stock settings, right? We put this down, this is at 0, this is at 0, and this is over here, 25. Let's just say this is the stock settings, right? So what you're going to need to do is you can click on auto, right? It will automatically do your fan for you. If you untick this auto, you can manually do it and do it manually yourself, okay? So I'm just going to unlock it to show you guys how to save a profile. So you go onto your fan speed, and let's just say you want to start playing games, you want to create a profile for your games, and you want your fan to be at, let's say, 85%. You want to do a little bit on the memory clock. You want to do about, let's say 50, right? Let's start off at 50. You want to do 50 on it. So I'm just going to put this at 50 as well, right? So put it at 50, and then these two play a very big role for your temp limit and your power limit. You pull this all the way to the end, and you put this as priority. You can actually tick on this and make your temp limit as priority, but I leave this as my priority, and that's fine for me. Now, if you want to save this profile, what you're going to need to do is you're going to tick on it. To activate it, you're going to click save, and you're going to click on any profile. So this is your overclock, right? So you're going to make this number 1 to do your overclock. Or you can put the time when you don't game, make that number 1. So I'm just going to make this number 3. All right, so this is my third profile. So if I click on my third profile, it will look like this. If I click on my second profile, it will look like this. If I click on my first profile, it will look like this. Now, I just created this one over here. You can do it yourself and then save it for your graphics card and the specific graphics card that you're currently running. Now, if you have a NVIDIA graphics card and it's not the best cooling solution graphics card, I have a gigabyte version. It's not the best cooling solution. I'll be straight up honest with you guys. MSI and ROG Strix, they make really good cooling solutions. Gigabyte does not. So this is why I have this as my gaming setup profile, right? So 90% on my fan curve. I can actually put it to 100, but I don't want to overdo my fans. So I do a memory clock of 100 plus and core clock of 100 plus. And then this is at 87 and this is at 117. Now, the reason why I put this at 87 and put it as high as it can go is because temp limit is this. When my graphics card reaches 87 degrees, which it should never do while you're playing games, if it reaches 87 and higher, it will start thermal throttling and you'll lose FPS. Now, you do not want that to happen. So the reason why I put mine on 90 is I want it never to reach 87 degrees on my GPU. All right, so I'm going to tick it. And now I'm loaded up my overclocking profile plus my fan curve on 90. When I don't game, I click on my second profile, create yourself a profile and just save it. Once you're done with it, you just lock it and then it's locked for you. So this is my profile for when I don't game, I tick on it. There we go. This is when I don't game, when I just watch YouTube videos or whatever the case might be, movies, whatever the case might be. When I go and game, I tick on the first box, I do my overclocking and I go out of this. Now there's a great program or little thing that you can use. It's called Combustor. It's a really good program to check if you are doing really good overclocking. So let's just say, for instance, okay, it does open a website. I'm just going to go with this over here and this resolution and use MSI 1 and do a stress test. I'm going to open up my stress test and it's going to load. And there we go. So you click on ×4, always click on ×4, and it will tell you the frame rate that you're doing. And this will obviously also tell you your GPU temperature, what it climbs up to. This is just a stress test. And as you can see, this is the resolution I'm doing it at. So let's just close this out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's just do this. So let's just put this at 1080p, which most people are going to be playing at. And we are going to select a different one. There's one called a donut. So I'm just going to use the donut version of it and then do a stress test. All right, so this is a stress test that I'm doing right now. So it's not in full screen, so that's why you can see this. So you just press escape, it will go out of it. So let's just put it in full screen mode and run the stress test. All right, so this will tell me my frames that I'm currently doing on this stress test. I'm doing 99, 97, 98. That is the temperature that I'm doing on my GPU. Now, this takes really good advantage on doing a stress test on the graphics card you are currently running. So it will tell you all of these things, to tell you your temperature, you know, the frames you're doing per time, per second, per minute. This is the speed that it's running at, what milliseconds it's running at, and your GPU load. I'm doing about 99. Sometimes it will drop to about 91, 92, there around. So I'm doing about 99% on my GPU load. That is good because it's using basically all of my graphics card to push out these frames. All right, so let's try a different one. Let's just go with the first one and let's do the same test. All right, when you on this one over here, the very first one, I highly recommend you click on ×4 tessellation and it will hit the frames that you should be doing. So it will do a stress test. Leave this on for about, I don't know, max 5 minutes. A lot of people are saying you could max it out at like 30 minutes or so. I highly recommend you do this to 5 to 10 minutes and just let it run. It will do your frames for you and check the highest temperature that it climbs to with the fan curve that you have. So I'm going to press escape. I'm going to close out of this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to underclock my graphics card, or actually just leave it normal stock for when I don't game, right? So now I'm going to use that same program and just show you guys what I mean by this. All right, so it opens up a website. So I'm going to go full screen and I'm going to go with 1080p resolution, which most people play at, and I'm going to run the stress test again. All right, so as you can see, watch this. I'm not even going to run it long. I'm just going to show you. This is my setting or profile when I don't game. Now, as you can see, I'm not even long into this timing. I'm about 12 seconds in, 13 seconds, 14, 15, and I'm doing 72 degrees on my GPU, 74. And it's just that's not good. You don't want your GPU hitting 80 degrees or, you know, 85 and stuff like that. You do not want your GPU to run at that temperature. Now, you need to wait for your GPU to obviously cool down. I can't just press escape and then go run the stress test again immediately and then check the GPU. The GPU needs to cool down first before you do another stress test. So I'm going to, as you can see, it climbed up here by a lot by doing the stress test. So I'm going to load my profile with my overclocking plus my 90 fan curve, right? So I'm just going to give it some time to cool down. So it's at 61 degrees right now. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of time to cool down. And it's doing about, or it was doing 5,000 megahertz. I do 7,000. There we go. I do 7,000 normally when I play my games and stuff like that. So let's just show you guys what this is going to do with the stress test. And this will help you with Call of Duty Warzone. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I'm going to go very in depth with this video for people out there that is still losing FPS issues. Now, if you are a video user, this is a really great program to get more FPS out of your game if you do some little stable overclocking and a little bit of fan curve. All right, so let's do this. Let's start doing the stress test. I actually want this to come down way more, like way more, to show you that your Celsius or degrees that you're doing on your GPU is way lower when you have your fan curve obviously up high. So let's just do that same test. So I'm just going to click on this. It's going to open up a website again, like always. All right, so here we go. So go to obviously 1080p. We go full screen and we run the stress test. Let it open up, and I'm going to click on tessellation times 4 like that, and I'm going to let it run. All right, so I'm doing about 116 frames a second. I'm 5 seconds in, 7 seconds in, 60 degrees. All right. 10, 11. Now, before this, I was doing at this timing 70 degrees and higher. Right now, I'm doing 17, 18, 20 seconds in, and I'm at 60, let's say 64 degrees. There we go, 64 degrees. So there we go. As you can see, this does help a lot with your fan curve, you know, and your fan speed to let your graphics card not overheat and do thermal throttling. So ladies and gentlemen, this is how you do this for MSI Afterburner users or AMD users. Just make your fan curve go up higher and select the profile that you saved for when you go play games, and then select the profile when you don't play games. All right, so I'm going to select this profile, let it run, and then minimize the program. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to jump straight into the game and show you what settings I use for this season, and then I'm going to also do a video for the new map that's coming out. If you would like to see that, I'm going to say it again, if you would like to see that, leave a like on this video, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new here, and I'll be doing an in-depth FPS boost guide on the latest map, which is coming out on the 8th of this month. And I'm going to be going into the game, check out the map, check out the settings, check all those things out before I do an FPS boost guide, do research, all those things, play the game myself, feel how it feels, all those things, and then I'm going to make an FPS boost guide for the latest map. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let me jump straight into the game and let me show you what settings I use. Right, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I'm in my Call of Duty Warzone right now, and as you can see, I'm running DirectX 12. I'm doing about 10 gigs on my memory. My CPU is doing 44 degrees, let's say 50 degrees, there we go, 50 degrees. My memory on my GPU, I'm doing about 3.3 gigs, and my GPU's temperature is at 37 degrees. This is obviously just in the menu itself. So you're going to go to the options menu over here, and you're going to go to keyboard and mouse. So these are your all sensitivities, is your own personal preference on what you do over here. Go to general tab, and then over here what you're going to do is change this, and this is your own personal preference. Field of view is your own personal preference. So you can bring this down, you can bring it up, you can expand it, and you can do these things over here. So what I do is I keep mine like this. I keep mine at 120. It's your own personal preference, but I do highly recommend changing the brightness in this game, because on some monitors, on some screens, on some displays like laptops and stuff like that, your brightness isn't really bright on your monitor or your display. So I highly recommend changing the settings inside the game to about 70 or higher, so you can actually see this WZ for Call of Duty Warzone. Alright, so if you bring this to the stock factory settings, it's going to be really low and it's going to be dark. So people are going to be hiding in little dark corners and you won't be able to see them. A nice thing you can do also is skip introduction movie. You can enable this and just keep it enabled so you don't have to watch the introduction of the movie every time you launch the game. Alright, the graphics settings. I highly recommend you put this at full screen. You run the screen that you're obviously running, like your monitor or your display for your laptop. You select the graphics card that you're currently running, and you put this at the refresh rate of your screen. Now, you put this at 1080p. I highly recommend playing this at 1080p if you have a 1080p monitor. If you have anything higher than that, then you can go higher, obviously, depending on the monitor that you have. So you can choose whatever settings you want to do. So I can run this game at 4K because I run this game on a 4K TV. So I can put it at 4K, but I put it at 1080p because then I do better FPS inside my game. This one over here, I highly recommend you put this in automatic. This one over here is VSync. Now, a lot of people have G-Sync and FreeSync monitors, so you can enable this as your own personal preference. Unfortunately, I play on a TV. It's not a full-on gaming TV. It's just a TV, a really good TV that I play my games on. So I don't use this. I disable it. Right, frame rate limit. So it's custom frame rate limit. I put mine on unlimited. These are all my personal settings that I use. All right, I disable this one. I disable this, and you can restart your shader installation if your shaders here at the top has stopped, frozen, or got stuck up here, then you click on this button to restart your shader installation. Right, this I keep on 2.2 so it doesn't make the game look very dark. This one over here, streaming quality, I put this at low. Texture resolution, I keep it high. All right. This one on high. With the graphics card that I'm running and the CPU that I'm running and the RAM that I'm running, these settings for me are perfectly fine. You can just copy these settings if you have a machine like mine or anything higher than mine. You can run these settings and you should be good to go with the frames inside the game. All right, now people, if you do run a low-end gaming budget PC, then I highly recommend you change this from high to normal. It does eat a lot of VRAM, as you can see over here. So if you have a 4 gig graphics card or anything lower than that, I highly recommend you change this to low. You put this at least at low. Put this at low. You can enable this. Doesn't do anything really to your GPU. Tessellation, you are going to put on disable. If you have anything lower than a 4 gig graphics card, your machine is going to lose FPS. If you put all of these things on and you put this maybe at like high and put this at like year or normal and put this on, you know, all these things, if you put them on, it starts eating VRAM. So I highly recommend you switch this onto very low if you have a very low-end gaming PC. Now, if you have a machine like mine, like I said before, all you need to do is this. So the streaming quality, you keep at low. This one you can keep at high. And then this one you can keep at high. And then the particle quality, you can keep at high. And enable this and put this on all. And disable this one over here. This one over here you can put on normal or you can put at low. Do not go anything higher. Don't put it on extra. Because as you can see, it starts eating VRAM. You can just keep it at normal or low. I keep mine at normal. This one plays a big role on different computers and different personal settings for Warzone. If you want to enable these, you can. That's what it does here. On the right hand side, it tells you what it does. I keep mine at disabled because with the settings I use and how I play my game, I keep these disabled and it helps me in my game. Right, this one over here, particle quality, it doesn't really do anything to your VRAM, so you can keep this in ultra. Disable DirectX ray tracing unless you have a really good graphics card. But people are watching this video because they are losing frames in the game. So I highly recommend you disable this. This one you put on both. This, you disable it. A lot of people say you should put this on and this and that and this. Well, if you want to put it on, go ahead at your own personal preference. I keep mine at disabled. I put this at 0.00. I disable this. This is for 30 series graphics cards. It also does work on 20 series graphics cards depending on what 20 series graphics card you have. But I highly recommend you disable this. Anti-aliasing, I keep mine at this. Depth of field, I disable this. World motion blur, I disable this. I disable weapon motion blur as well. And then film gain 0.00. Because if you put this up, it's going to start looking like that. And you do not want your game to look like trash. Alright, dynamic resolution, I disable this. You can also enable it as your own personal preference. Like I said, everyone has their own personal preference. And I keep my dynamic resolution frame rate target at 300. And I keep it like this. This is my settings that I use, ladies and gentlemen. And as I go into my game like this, just going to show you. Let me just jump into my game and show you what frames I do by standing in the lobby. Alright, so yeah, I'm in my game right now. And this is the frames I do when I'm standing in the lobby. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to me on the YouTube channel if you're new here. And as always, peace out.